Hello Dub Nation, it's always a thrill to connect with you, especially as we're about to reveal the latest news that could shape the fate of our beloved Golden State Warriors. But before we dive into this whirlwind of information, let me make a friendly request. Show us some love by clicking the like button to strengthen our bond, and hey, if you are not subscribed yet, join our channel for a thrilling and emotional journey. Don't forget to turn on notifications to stay ahead of the game.
DeMarcus Cousins reveals what truly sets the Warriors apart, and Jimmy Butler's just now finding out. DeMarcus Cousins just dropped a powerful truth about his former team, the Golden State Warriors, and it's something Jimmy Butler is only now beginning to experience firsthand. The Warriors have long been considered one of the best-run franchises in the NBA, and it's not just because of the 4 championships they've won in the past decade. What truly sets them apart is how they treat their players, not just as athletes, but as people. That level of care and culture is something Jimmy Butler is starting to embrace in his first season with the team. Recently, on Run It Back via FanDuel TV, Cousins opened up about the Warriors' behind-the-scenes culture, and why it's unlike anything else in the league. Having been part of that organization, I 100% agree with Jimmy, Cousins said. It's hands down one of the best in the NBA. They treat their players right. They take care of their families. That stuff matters. Cousins went even further, revealing just how far the Warriors go to make their players and their loved ones feel valued. From meal planning on road trips to travel arrangements, during the playoffs and finals, they fly the players' families out on a separate plane. Not many teams do that. What Jimmy's saying. It's absolutely true. Even though Butler's just getting started in Golden State, Cousins is confident he'll be welcomed with open arms. Sure, it's early, he said, but knowing that organization, they're going to roll out the red carpet. They'll make sure Jimmy feels at home, like part of the family. That sense of trust and mutual commitment is exactly why Cousins believes the Warriors' recent move, extending Butler for 2 years at $121 million following his trade from Miami, is more than justified. Honestly, it makes sense, Cousins said. Jimmy's giving everything he's got. And the organization is meeting him halfway. That's how it should be. You want that relationship to thrive. You want your investment to pay off. And right now, it's working. In his first 30 games with the Warriors, Butler is averaging 17.9 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 5.9 assists, proving that even at age 35, he's still a force. And more importantly, he's found a team that treats him like more than just a stat sheet. Everyone, from the front office to the locker room, is doing their part to make this partnership succeed. And if Cousins is right, the best might still be ahead. Butler's smooth transition into the Warriors system hasn't just impressed his teammates, it's turning heads across the league. Many insiders initially questioned whether the 35-year-old veteran still had enough in the tank to justify such a massive extension. But his early performance has silenced most of the doubters. Inside the locker room, players and coaches rave about Butler's leadership and work ethic. His ability to adapt to the Warriors' fast-paced, team-first offense has been seamless. Off the court, his presence is equally felt, mentoring younger players, engaging with the community, and fully buying into the strength and numbers mentality that's defined the franchise for over a decade. Even Warriors head coach Steve Kerr weighed in on Butler's impact, saying, "Jimmy's presence has been huge for us. He's a competitor, a leader, and he fits right into the culture we've built. He's not just here to play, he's here to win." Meanwhile, around the league, Butler's resurgence with the Warriors has sparked conversations about how much a strong organizational culture can elevate a player's career. Analysts have pointed out that this move could extend Butler's prime by several more seasons, especially in an environment that prioritizes player wellness, smart load management, and a winning mindset. Social media also lit up after Cousins' comments went viral. Many fans praised the Warriors for continuing to do things the right way, while others compared it to how other teams often neglect the off-court needs of players and their families. NBA analyst Shams Charania even noted on the Pat McAfee show that the Warriors' investment in Butler is a clear signal that Golden State isn't done chasing titles, despite a roster with aging stars like Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. This isn't about rebuilding, Shams said. This is about reloading, and Butler gives them that competitive edge they need. Still, the pressure is on. With such a high-profile move and a major financial commitment, expectations have skyrocketed. The Warriors are no strangers to playing under a spotlight, but with Butler now in the mix, anything short of a deep playoff run will be viewed as a disappointment. And yet, for now, All signs point in the right direction. The chemistry is growing. The wins are piling up. And for Jimmy Butler, who's fought through injuries, trades, and doubters throughout his career, Golden State might just be the place where everything finally clicks. As Cousins put it best, when you've been through the ups and downs this league throws at you, finding a place where you're valued, really valued, that's rare. Jimmy's found that with the Warriors. Stephen Curry calls NBA underpaid, while Jonathan Kuminga's future with the Warriors hangs in the balance. Stephen Curry has never been one to shy away from speaking his mind, and his latest comments about NBA salaries come at a time when young forward Jonathan Kuminga finds himself in limbo with the Golden State Warriors. Kuminga, once seen as a rising star in the Warriors system, is still waiting for clarity. After limited playing time and a stalled development curve, he's made it clear he wants a bigger role and a bigger contract. He dreams of being an all-star, but in Golden State, opportunities have been hard to come by. Despite showing flashes of brilliance last season, Kuminga hasn't received any concrete offers during free agency. A potential trade to the Sacramento Kings was reportedly in the works, but the Warriors pulled the plug. Instead, the front office is now considering bringing him back on a short-term deal, with the intent to flip him later in the season. Fans aren't happy. Many feel Kuminga deserves more, not just for what he brings on the court, but for the potential that still burns inside him. And as this situation drags on, it's becoming clear that something deeper may be at play. That's where Stephen Curry's recent comments come in. In an interview with Complex, the Warriors franchise player opened up about the financial realities of today's NBA, especially under the new collective bargaining agreement, CBA. His take? Players, despite the eye-popping salaries, are still underpaid. I know the numbers look crazy from the outside, Curry admitted. But what the league is making now, it's 10 times more than before. And yet, we can't participate in the equity while we're playing. That's part of why I'd say, yeah, we're underpaid. Curry went on to explain how the current CBA limits how much teams can pay their players, especially those who don't fit neatly into max contract or role player boxes. That's the exact dilemma Kuminga is facing. He's not a max player, yet. But he's outgrown a rookie-scale deal. And under the current rules, there's little room for in-between. We play a special game, and this is a special industry, Curry continued. It's not going anywhere because the value of entertainment is only growing. But players should be able to share more in that growth. I hope those rules start to shift, and soon. Curry didn't mention Kuminga by name, but the message was clear. Players like him, stuck in this financial no-man's land, are the ones being squeezed. Kuminga, for his part, is reportedly seeking around $30 million per season on his next contract. Under normal market conditions, that wouldn't be unreasonable for a 21-year-old with elite athleticism, strong defensive instincts, and untapped offensive potential. But in the current CBA landscape, few teams can afford to take that bet, especially a team like Golden State, already deep into the luxury tax. To complicate matters further, many within the Warriors' locker room want Kuminga back. They see his value. They believe in his upside. But head coach Steve Kerr reportedly doesn't view him as a long-term starter, and that disconnect has made negotiations even more tense. This stalemate is hurting both sides. For Kuminga, every day without a deal is a missed opportunity to grow. For the Warriors, dragging their feet puts them at risk of losing a homegrown talent, or letting his trade value dip even further. What's clear is this: something needs to give. Curry's comments may just be the first crack in a larger conversation the league needs to have, about how young players are compensated, how growth is nurtured, and how teams balance development with the demands of winning now. Until then, Kuminga waits. The Warriors wait. And fans can only hope that this story ends not with another broken promise, but with a second chance. A franchise at a crossroads. The situation with Kuminga highlights a deeper issue within the Warriors organization, a growing tension between preserving a championship core and investing in the next generation. With Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green all well into their 30s, Golden State is walking a delicate tightrope between honoring the past and preparing for the future. And Kuminga, whether fairly or not, has become the symbol of that struggle. Internally, sources say the Warriors are divided. Some front office voices see Kuminga as a potential cornerstone, a two-way forward who could blossom into a star with the right role and support. Others, including head coach Steve Kerr, reportedly remain skeptical of his decision-making and consistency on the floor. That hesitation has stalled contract talks and left Kuminga in a frustrating limbo. Yet, while management deliberates, the clock is ticking. Kuminga has just 1 year remaining on his rookie deal. If the Warriors fail to extend him, or trade him before the deadline, they risk losing him for nothing in restricted free agency. Worse, they risk alienating other young talents like Moses Moody or Brandon Podziemski, who are closely watching how the franchise treats its future. League-wide reactions. Around the NBA, rival executives are paying attention. Several teams have reportedly inquired about Kuminga's availability, but most have been cautious. Not because they don't value his talent, but because the current CBA has made it harder to take financial risks. Under the league's new luxury tax penalties, taking on a rising player with a high salary expectation can cripple a team's flexibility for years. One anonymous GM told The Athletic, "Kuminga is the kind of guy you'd normally bet on. But with the second apron and all the new CBA rules, you have to be really careful. The margin for error is smaller than ever." Curry's comments have sparked larger conversations among player agents and the NBPA, National Basketball Players Association. If the most recognizable face in basketball is saying players are underpaid despite multi-million-dollar contracts, it raises questions about how future CBAs should be structured, especially around revenue sharing and equity participation. What comes next for Kuminga? As for Kuminga, his next move could define his career. If he returns to the Warriors on a short-term prove-it deal, it could be a chance to showcase his growth and increase his value ahead of a potential trade or free agency. But if tensions with the coaching staff remain unresolved, he risks another year of inconsistent minutes, and another year of development lost. Some insiders believe a change of scenery might be best for both parties. A young rebuilding team could give Kuminga the runway to fully spread his wings, while the Warriors could acquire veterans better suited for their current win-now window. Still, there's a bittersweet element to that possibility. Kuminga was supposed to be part of the Warriors' next chapter. Letting him walk could be seen as a failure of player development, especially if he blossoms into a star elsewhere. A franchise searching for balance. Golden State is facing one of its most important off-seasons in recent memory. With questions swirling around Thompson's future, roster depth, and the long-term viability of its big three, the handling of Kuminga's situation is a litmus test for where the franchise truly stands. Will the Warriors find a way to bridge the gap between eras? Or will they continue to prioritize the present at the expense of what could be? For now, Stephen Curry's words echo louder than ever. We're building something bigger than just a team, and that only works if everyone gets a fair chance to be part of it. The ball is in Golden State's court. What they do next will say more about their future than any stat line ever could. Stay in your lane, the rookie mistake that earned Stephen Curry a chilling lesson from Kobe Bryant. Back in the 2009-10 NBA season, a fresh-faced Stephen Curry was just beginning to find his footing with the Golden State Warriors. Bright-eyed, confident, and already showing flashes of the greatness to come, Curry entered the league ready to test himself against the best. And at the top of that mountain? Kobe Bryant, a reigning NBA champion, Finals MVP, and the undisputed alpha of the league. For any young player, sharing the court with Kobe wasn't just a challenge, it was a dream. For Curry, it turned into a moment he'll never forget, and one that almost backfired in spectacular fashion. A rookie tries to poke the Mamba. Curry recently shared the story during an appearance on 360 with Speedy, recalling a night at Oracle Arena when he made the mistake of trying to rattle the Black Mamba. "We were playing the Lakers at home," Curry said. "They were up by 6 near the end of the game, and we started fouling to extend it. Kobe was walking to the free throw line, and as I passed him, I said, 'You nervous?' That simple jab might have been lighthearted, maybe even playful, but it didn't land that way. The look he gave me. I'll never forget it," Curry continued. "It was burned into my mind. First of all, I'm a rookie talking to him. Second, he looked at me like, 'Nervous? What are you even saying?' That icy stare was more powerful than any words. In that split second, Curry learned what countless other players had already figured out. You don't poke the Mamba unless you're ready for the consequences. The game in question. The moment likely took place on March 15, 2010. A hard-fought game that ended in a 124-121 win for the Lakers. Both Curry and Bryant scored 29 points, trading buckets in a performance that hinted at the rookie's enormous potential. But it wasn't the stat sheet that stuck with Curry. It was that death stare, The silent warning from one legend in the making to the legend already at the top. "I kind of expected him to do something wild like Jordan used to do," Curry joked. "Like close his eyes at the free throw line and still hit the shot, then look at me like, that one was for you." But Kobe didn't need theatrics. His eyes said everything. That look just said, "You just got here. Chill. Stay in your lane." From awkward rookie moment to earned respect. In hindsight, that moment wasn't just a misstep, it was a rite of passage. Curry may have come into the league with confidence, but Kobe made sure he understood the weight of the jersey, the grind of the league, and the level still ahead. And while their relationship may have started with that awkward interaction, it quickly evolved into mutual respect. Before Kobe's tragic passing, he had publicly praised Curry's greatness and acknowledged the revolution he helped spark in the game. Curry, in turn, has often spoken about the impact Kobe had on him, both in that early stay-in-your-lane moment and throughout his growth as a player and leader. What began as a rookie mistake turned into a powerful lesson, one that helped shape Curry into the relentless competitor and global icon he is today. A moment that sparked a legacy. What Stephen Curry didn't realize in that moment, standing face-to-face with Kobe Bryant at the free throw line, was that he was being tested. Not just by the moment, but by the Mamba himself. Kobe wasn't just giving a cold stare. He was sending a message that every young player in the NBA has to receive at some point. Respect isn't given, it's earned. And Curry took that lesson to heart. Instead of folding under the weight of Kobe's presence or shrinking after the misstep, Curry did what he's always done. He kept working, kept improving, and slowly started building his own legacy. Within just a few years, he'd go from wide-eyed rookie to back-to-back MVP, revolutionizing the game with his range, pace, and playmaking. But make no mistake, that early experience with Kobe stayed with him. You could tell Kobe was wired differently, Curry reflected later in an interview. He didn't just want to win, he wanted to dominate, and he wanted you to feel it. He had a presence. You couldn't fake it around him. He'd see right through it. Kobe's influence on the next generation. Curry wasn't the only player to feel the impact of a Kobe stare. Countless stars, from LeBron James to Kyrie Irving, from Jason Tatum to Devin Booker, have shared stories of Kobe's mentorship, intensity, and ability to elevate those around him, sometimes through tough love. But Curry's story stands out because of what it represents, the transition of eras. That brief exchange in 2010 symbolized a changing of the guard. Kobe was still at his peak, the face of a league he had helped define post-Jordan. Curry was the new wave, ushering in a style of play that would soon flip the NBA on its head. And even Kobe, who was famously particular about greatness, eventually embraced that change. From stare-down to brotherhood. Years later, as Curry ascended to superstardom, Kobe became not just a competitor, but an admirer and supporter. The two shared conversations about leadership, longevity, and handling the spotlight. Kobe respected Curry's poise, the way he stayed grounded despite fame, and how he stayed true to his style of play, unorthodox yet unstoppable. One of the most touching moments came during an interview shortly before Kobe's passing, when he was asked about the future of the league. Without hesitation, he mentioned Steph. He changed the game. People don't understand how hard that is to do. What he's done is beyond special. That endorsement, from someone who once stared him down for trash talk, is perhaps one of the highest honors Curry could receive. A legacy of lessons. Now years later, Curry has become that figure for today's rookies. The seasoned superstar whose presence alone commands respect, the champion with scars and stories, and the man young players both admire and measure themselves against. And when a young player like Scoot Henderson or Jalen Green tries to talk trash or take a shot at the throne, you can bet Curry remembers that look Kobe gave him. He probably just smiles. "I know where they're coming from," he said in a recent interview. "I've been there. But hey, sometimes the best thing you can do is just give them that look." Full circle. That one quiet, tense moment between rookie Steph and legend Kobe is no longer just a funny story. It's part of NBA folklore. It's about growth. It's about earning stripes. It's about knowing when to talk and when to listen. More importantly, it's about how greatness is passed down, not with handshakes, but with challenges. And for Stephen Curry, that cold stare was a fire starter. One that would eventually light the path toward becoming one of the most respected players to ever step on the court. Warriors still love Jonathan Kuminga, but they're not ready to re-sign him just yet. The Golden State Warriors still see a bright future with Jonathan Kuminga, but they're hitting the pause button before committing to a new deal. Why? Because there's one major piece of the puzzle they need to solve first. Despite their public praise for the 21-year-old forward, the Warriors and Kuminga currently find themselves at something of a crossroads. Kuminga has made it clear he's aiming higher. He wants to be an NBA All-Star and is looking for a larger role to get there. While his talent is undeniable, the market hasn't exactly responded with strong offers, and Kuminga remains unsigned. The Warriors, meanwhile, aren't rushing things. According to reports, they rejected a sign-and-trade deal with the Sacramento Kings, signaling that they're not willing to lose Kuminga for anything less than full value, especially not to a division rival. As things stand now, the most likely scenario is that Kuminga signs a short-term extension, possibly setting him up for a trade near the deadline if things don't improve. For now, both sides are in a holding pattern. Warriors fans growing frustrated, but the team is focused on long-term flexibility. Among Warriors fans, the situation hasn't gone unnoticed. Many are openly frustrated with how Kuminga, one of the team's most promising young players, is being handled. They're hoping for a swift resolution, preferably one that keeps Kuminga in the Bay long-term. But according to a Warriors executive who spoke with Keith Smith of Spotrac during NBA Summer League, there's more going on behind the scenes. The front office is proceeding with caution, largely because of the NBA's new collective bargaining agreement, CBA, which introduces tougher financial penalties for high-spending teams. "We still love Jonathan," the executive said, "but we're trying to be responsible. With the new tax aprons, caps, and restrictions, you can't just throw money around anymore. We're trying to find a balance that works for him and for us, without sacrificing our ability to build a strong roster now and in the future." The team's message is clear: Kuminga is valued, but the Warriors won't rush into a deal that could jeopardize their cap flexibility, especially not with bigger moves potentially on the horizon. A quiet off-season that's stirring concern. The same executive also commented on the Warriors' unusually quiet off-season so far, jokingly admitting, "Well, this is going to be a short conversation. We haven't really done anything yet, right?" He added that the team is waiting for several key decisions to play out before making any major signings. This approach, however, hasn't gone over well with fans. With zero signings so far, either in free agency or via trade, Golden State's offseason has left many questioning the front office's direction. The uncertainty around Kuminga only adds to the discomfort. Still, it's not for lack of interest. Sources say the Warriors are keeping a close eye on free agent Malcolm Brogdon, a versatile guard who could bring veteran leadership and stability to the backcourt. The team has also been linked to names like Al Horford, DeAnthony Melton, and Seth Curry as potential fits. Can the Warriors turn the tide? There's no question that this has been one of the most tension-filled off-seasons for Golden State in recent memory. Between salary cap concerns, aging veterans, and an impatient fan base, the pressure is building. But if the Warriors can make the right moves, starting with finding common ground with Kuminga, they still have time to course-correct. Adding impact players like Brogdon or reuniting Steph with his brother Seth could help stabilize the roster and restore some optimism heading into next season. At the end of the day, the Warriors still believe in Jonathan Kuminga's potential. The challenge now is making sure they don't lose him, mentally or physically, before he gets the chance to fully realize it in a Warriors jersey. Kuminga's situation reflects a larger shift in Golden State's strategy. What's becoming increasingly clear is that the Warriors are shifting gears. For over a decade, Golden State has been synonymous with star power and aggressive spending. But now, amid changing league economics, a shrinking championship window, and a new CBA that punishes teams for operating deep into the luxury tax, the Warriors are attempting a delicate balance: stay competitive and financially sustainable. Jonathan Kuminga's uncertain future is just one piece of that puzzle. Internally, the Warriors still believe Kuminga has the tools to be a star. He's coming off a breakout year, averaging 16.1 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 2.2 assists on 52.9% shooting. He's shown flashes of elite athleticism and two-way potential, particularly during a stretch in January when he was arguably the team's most consistent player. But the question remains, is there room for him to grow into a star in Golden State, or will he be perpetually stuck behind Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, and Draymond Green in the pecking order? That's where tension seems to be mounting. NBA insiders: Kuminga is being monitored by multiple teams. According to league insiders, several front offices around the NBA are closely watching the situation unfold. If the Warriors signal even a slight willingness to move Kuminga, teams like the Indiana Pacers, Orlando Magic, and Detroit Pistons, all of whom are rich in cap space and looking to add young talent, could make aggressive plays for him. Front offices see Kuminga as a rare blend of size, strength, and agility. He's just 21, already has playoff experience, and plays with an edge that can't be taught. But they also see a young player who may be growing restless, and that creates opportunity. For the Warriors, this is a precarious line to walk. If they re-sign Kuminga now and limit his role again, they risk stalling his development or creating internal friction. But if they let him walk or trade him too early, they could be giving up a future all-star just as he begins to blossom. Fans and analysts want action, not promises. The fan reaction has been mixed. While some trust the Warriors' long-term plan and financial caution, many are growing restless. The team's inactivity in free agency, combined with vague updates on Kuminga, has led to a growing narrative. The Warriors are stuck between timelines, trying to win now while also holding on to young assets like Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, and Tracy Jackson-Davis. Popular podcasts and media outlets have been vocal. On the Ringer NBA show, Kevin O'Connor called the Warriors' approach cautious to the point of stagnation. Meanwhile, Warriors Twitter has been flooded with posts urging the front office to either fully commit to Kuminga or move him before the situation turns sour. Adding to the noise, Kuminga's own cryptic social media posts, including a recent Instagram story with the caption "Be where you're appreciated," have only fueled speculation that he may be losing patience with the franchise. What comes next? The Warriors front office is running out of time to send a message, not just to Kuminga, but to their fan base and even to Steph Curry, who turns 37 next March. Golden State has always thrived on culture and continuity, but as pressure mounts, the organization needs to act decisively. If they choose to re-sign Kuminga, it must come with a clearer plan for his development and usage. That might mean reshuffling the roster to give him more touches, or even committing to moving a veteran piece to open up space. On the other hand, if the Warriors decide Kuminga simply doesn't fit into their future, then they'll need to act fast, before his value begins to dip or before relationships behind the scenes start to fray. For now, everything remains in limbo. But one thing is clear, Jonathan Kuminga's next contract won't just define his future, it could shape the next chapter of the Warriors' dynasty.